It is me, JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Power Book. Is this 4? Force. This is season 3. This is episode number 1. And this episode was titled Do or DIE. Now, before we go ahead and get into the review, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you're not subscribed yet, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let's discuss Power Book 4 Force. So, all right, guys, so what we're gonna do with this review is we're gonna talk about the Feds and Claudia, and then we're gonna move over to Shanti and Jannard, and then we'll end up with Tommy, Diamond, and Maria, and Miguel. What I will say is, watching this episode, I was confused because I didn't y'all realize it's been a year since the season finale of season 2. I will say that I am glad that they put that, look, because it was like 5 minutes before the episode started. And so I was glad that they put that in there to give us the refresher of last season, because I kid you guys not, I did not remember anything from season 2 of Force. And as the episode went on, I was remembering some things and I was like, oh, I remember this. Only thing that I don't remember is, we'll get to it when we get to Jannard, but I don't remember who this King Kilo guy is. Y'all have to jog my memory on that part. But let's get into the episode. Now, we see Stacy, right? Y'all remember last season, Stacy was working with Vic to bring down Tommy, right? Remember in the season finale, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Tommy had gotten somebody in the prison to get to Claudia, right? And that girl shanked the shit out of Claudia, right? So, and remember, they were getting ready to find, pull up on Tommy. So that's where we pick up this episode with Stacy, her bad wig, and her team ready to pull up on Tommy and, take out Tommy and CBI at this point, right? So they get to the spot where they were. They had already left before they got there. And then Stacy had, took her phone out and called up Victor's phone. And one of her team members found Victor's phone, on the ground, and she was like, fuck! I was like, yeah, you got. Now, this is a scene where I was kind of confused. Now, we were at the prison, and we saw the guy, Merkovich, right? And so there was this guy who went to go see him, and he's making a deal with Merkovich, and I was like, who is this guy? What's going on here? I was entirely confused because he's trying to make a deal with Merkovich. Now, I did not understand who he was making a deal with, but Merkovich told whoever this guy is that he is in debt to the Marquez family. And so the guy says, I know that. And I was like, who's the Marquez? Y'all have to remind me. Who's the Marquez family? Why do we care about the Marquez family? That I was still confused about. So Merkovich signed this paper that he gave him, right? And so he slid it back. He slid it back to him, and then he took out this little yellow folded up piece of paper, and he gave it to Merkovich. And I was like, again, what's going on here, right? Now we see as Stacy is having a meeting with her team, and Stacy is telling her team that Victor is dead. I was like, girl, and when she said that Vic is dead, I was like, is he really, did Tommy them take him out? Do you have eyes on Victor? Do you know that for a fact that Victor is no longer among the land of the living? Because I was so confused, right? So then Stacy was also informed that the DNC wanted to have a conversation with her. And then one of her other partners got a phone call. And so we move over to the prison. So in the prison, Merkovich gets up out of his bed and he just starts choking, and he falls to the ground, dies, and foams at the mouth. And then you see him as he opened that letter, that little piece of paper that he had. It was a white substance in it, and it said goodbye. I was like, was that paper poisoned? Like, what the fuck happened with that paper? Like, if somebody can explain that to me, please explain it to me and make it make sense. But neither here nor there. So they got a call that Merkovich is dead, right? So then we see Stacy. So Stacy went to go have a conversation with the DNC person. Her name is Donna, right? So Donna is telling Stacy that, there's going to be a scandal that's going to come out against the mayor and the DNC. I guess they're so proud of what she's done, but she's like, but I didn't get Tommy. And they were like, we're not worried about that. When it comes to the press, we ain't gonna talk about that shit. So don't worry about it. And so they tell her that they want her to run for mayor. I was like, oh, Stacy. One thing about the cops in the Power universe, they are eager and determined, and they get on our nerves, right? Now, moving on to Claudia. We see Claudia. Claudia is still alive. Claudia is in the infirmary. I was like, damn, bitch. Like, you took a lot of, which I kind of figured that Claudia didn't die, because if you guys know, in the world of TV, if you don't see a deceased body, then it's safe to assume that that person is alive, right? Because all that girl did was, this is from Tommy, and bing, 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 just, went to stabbing Claudia, right? And she left. And that was it. So Claudia's alive, right? So we see as this guy that went to go see Merkovich went to go see Claudia. And he lets Claudia know that Merkovich, he's gone at this point, right? And she was like, that shit that happened with the Marquez, it wasn't me. I ain't got shit to do with it. She was like, that was on Tommy and Shanti the Showstopper. And so the guy was like, if you telling the truth, then you're gonna be working with my client. If you're lying to me, my client is going to get revenge against you, right? So then we also see as Stacy went to go see Claudia, right? And Claudia's looking at her like, girl, what the fuck are you doing here? And so she told her that this is where Claudia found out that the Marquez cartel took out Merkovich. And at this point, Claudia is being asked by Stacy to turn rat and help her. And she was like, girl, fuck that. I'm not working with you. Claudia, I think that was the smartest move that you have ever made. In the 3 seasons that we've known you, I think that was one of the smartest moves that you could have made, right? Now, we see Victor. Victor pulled up on Stacy. And so Stacy's like, you're alive, Vic? I was like, girl, you didn't find a dead body, so of course he's alive, but whatever. So she was like, but we pulled up to the spot. Tommy got to him before you got to him, right? So Victor is telling Stacy that Tommy thinks that Shanti the Showstopper is the rat. And Stacy was like, Victor, I think they're playing you. I was like, ding, 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 ding. They're absolutely playing him, right? So eager ass Stacy still wants to go after Tommy. And it's like, ma'am, your operation is failing. Like you said earlier in the episode, you had 3 people. You had Merkovich, you had Claudia, and you had somebody else. And you can build a RICO case around that. But I mean, Merkovich is gone, so it ain't much that you can do, right? So she then offers Victor Claudia, and Victor was like, I want out. Like, I want out of this bullshit. And basically, Stacey told him, you out when I say you out. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. So then we see Claudia once again. So the guy who took out Merkovich came back to Claudia, told Claudia, hey, story checks out. So we're going to be going after Shanti and we're going to go after Tommy. And she's like, well, what about me? And he was like, you're business partners with the Marquez. Now, we see Stacy. Stacy's having a conversation with Bobby, right? And, she's telling Bobby about the DNC, and they had that conversation. And then she's still talking about Tommy. And so he was like, you know what, Stacy? I don't give a fuck about that, right? He said, I told somebody that he's quitting the task force. And she's looking like, well, I be damn. And I was like, are you shocked, Stacy? So then we see Claudia's girlfriend. And I'm gonna make all this stuff make sense once we get some of the stuff that I've talked about in here. I'll make it make sense once we get to other scenes. So Claudia's girlfriend visited her in jail to basically let her know, like, hey, the Marquez went after Tommy and Shanti, and it wasn't what it's what they expected, right? So Claudia's like, well, as long as I'm in here and as long as I'm alive, Tommy's gonna be coming for me, right? So she says, please. So she told her girlfriend to go back and tell somebody in the Marquez that she'll work with them. Good luck to you, Claudia. Now let's move on to the next group of people that we're gonna talk about. Now, you guys, I forgot how much I hate Jannard and Shanti the Showstopper. It wasn't until watching this episode I was like, oh yeah, that's right, JB. You did hate these two motherfuckers. Like, the minute I saw them. So Shanti and Jannard, they are at the boxing gym, right? They in the rink and they are getting it in. I was like, this ain't a sight that I ever wanted to see, but hey, we're seeing it nonetheless, right? So these two are celebrating. Now, you guys remember, I vaguely remember this, but I do remember last season, with the end of the season, Shanti and Jannard were working against Tommy and Diamond, and they wanted to take out Tommy and Diamond to make Jannard the head of CBI. Now, correct me if I got that wrong, and if there's anything missing in between that stuff, please let me know in the comment section, right? So Shanti's looking at Jannard like, nigga, did you send a text? Did you reach out to Miguel? Because Tommy should be, gone by now. And so he was like, yeah, I did send him a text message, but he was like, when it comes to Miguel, he likes to, prolong things. I was like, not this long, but okay, whatever, right? So then we see Shanti, and so she's talking to Jannard, and she's still insistent on taking Diamond out. Honestly, I hope by the midway point at this season, Shanti is no longer with us. I wanted her gone at the end of last season, but whatever. So while they're talking, in walks Tommy, and they both turn around and look like this motherfucker. So he told them that they need to get the Albanians, and he needs Jannard to roll with them, right? And so Shanti was like, well, what about me? And he said, right now, I need you to lay low, and we'll let you know when we need you. I was like, ooh, this mean mad bitch finna be mean and mad and pissed the fuck off, right? So after that, we see Shanti again, and so she's talking to Jannard, and she's telling Jannard, she still wants them to take out Tommy and Diamond, right? And so at this particular moment, while they're having a conversation, Jannard gets a text message from King Kilo. Now, again, I don't remember who King Kilo is, so you guys will have to refresh my memory on who King Kilo is, because I have no idea who the hell that is. Just being honest with you guys, right? So Jannard went down to the jail to see King Kilo, and so I do remember when D-Mac shot that boy talking about this is from a message from Diamond or something like that, right? I do remember that happening. So that was King Kilo's nephew. So King Kilo, he is telling Jannard like he wants the little nigga that took out his nephew, ixnayed right now. And Jannard is, backpedaling and pussy popping, because Jannard is like, wait a minute, King Kilo, we made a deal that, we would keep the peace with each other, and that I would leave him alive until you get out of jail, and then I can deliver him to you. So King Kilo is like, you know what? Fuck that. I want that little nigga done right now. And he said, you got a week to do it. I said, ooh, Jannard, you're in an interesting pickle line. Okay. So then we see as Jannard then went back to Shanti to tell Shanti the conversation that he had with King Kilo, right? So he told Shanti, King Kilo says, nigga, we got 1 week to get this little nigga taken care of, right? And Shanti was like, okay, let's keep him alive as long as we can. And Jannard was like, bitch, what? And she was like, hear me out. She was like, let's prolong this, right? Let's make it seem as if Diamond and Tommy are the ones that are protecting him, and Then King Kilo will take out Diamond and Tommy. And then once they take him out, then we can deliver D-Mac to King Kilo. I was like, Shanti, and all these cockamamie schemes that you got up in your head, none of them have worked. And I don't think that this was gonna be any better. But hey, do what you want to do. So she also wants to bring D-Mac in, basically like give him work, feed him, make him feel comfortable, make him feel safe. And then once they get to that point, they can, feed him to King Kilo. I was like, I really think that this is gonna be your downfall, but okay, whatever. Now, you guys, there's an interesting scene that I didn't know where to place this, so it's right here in my notes with Victor. We see Vic as he went to go see Polly's wife, right? And he's telling her she won't see him again, and that if something happens to him, he has his envelope in his hand, right? And he told her to, if something were to happen to him, to give it to the U.S. District Attorney, and then he gave her some money and dipped out. I was like, oh, okay. Now, moving back over to Jannard. So Jannard pulled up on Diamond, right? And Jannard is telling Diamond, like, yo, I went to go see that nigga King Kilo, and he want us to take out that nigga D-Mac, right? And so Diamond is like, fuck. But then Diamond, he told he was like, you know what? I told Tommy to handle this, so fuck it. Do what you gotta do, but make sure it doesn't come back to you and me. And I was like, ooh, Jannard, that ain't what you thought Diamond was gonna say, huh? You're fucked. You and your little girlfriend are probably fucked. So then Jannard decided to tell Diamond about Tommy being involved with Maria. I was like, what does it really have to... I know that, they're going against Miguel, but whatever, moving on. So at the end of the episode, we see as Jannard found D-Mac on the corner and told him to get in the car with him. D-Mac's dumbass got in the fucking car. I was like, oh my God, this boy is still dumb as two bricks. But whatever. Moving on, you guys. So we'll pause here and we'll move on. Now, the episode opens. So we see Tommy. So Tommy was pissed off, right? So he walked out of wherever he and Jannard, not Jannard, but he and Diamond were, right? So Diamond following behind him and he was like, Tommy, what's going on? And he was like, he told Diamond, like, go pick up Vic because the feds are on their way to the spot, right? And he says, so where are you going? He said, I got something that I got to handle up on, right? Now, we see Maria. So Maria was with Miguel, and Maria is still alive, right? And Miguel is telling Maria that she fucked him over for Tommy. And she told him, like, no, that's not what it is. She's like, Tommy loves me, Tommy sees me, Tommy's this, Tommy's that. And they going back and forth with each other, right? Because he's mad at her. He's like, how could you get close to Tommy? And, especially with what he's doing with Che. And honestly, Maria don't give a fuck, right? So she said that, so she told him, like, you're going to let me go and I'm not afraid of you. He said, no, you're going to stay here until I figure out what to do with you, right? And so she says, and this is where she went into a little diatribe about Tommy loves me, he'll do anything for me, and he's not afraid of you, right? So when Miguel turned his back to Maria and his gun was in his back pocket, well, not even his back pocket, it was in his pants. I was like, are you stupid or are you dumb? So she grabs it and she puts it to his head. And he was like, you not gonna shoot me? I was like, shit, I would. Fuck you being my brother or not. Nigga, you are holding me captive. The fuck? So he takes the gun from her, he cocks it, and he gives it back to her. So she didn't put it back to him, she put it up to her neck. I was like, ma'am, what are you doing? Like, why would you do something so stupid? So she said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. She said, but what I will do is I will tell Che that you took out his son. He was like, you wouldn't do that. And she was like, try me. I was like, shit, try her. Let's see what she'll do. Now, moving back over to Tommy. So Tommy, he eventually found me. He put up to Miguel's spot, right? So Miguel and all his men came out and they surrounded Tommy, right? And Tommy's just basically telling him like, if you hurt Maria, like it's me and you. And Miguel, he let Tommy go back and forth for a while till eventually was like, I'll let her go. And he said, and I'm gonna let you stay. I'm letting you stay alive, and I'm gonna let you be on these streets to keep the peace with Che, right? But he said, if anything happens to Maria, I'm gonna take you out, right? So then we see after that, Tommy called Maria. She was fine, and she said that she got Miguel to promise not to hurt them. And he was like, "Do you believe that?" She was like, "Yes, because I know something, right? He owes me." So then she asked Tommy to promise not to take out Miguel. Tommy couldn't promise that to her, right? And so then we see as this is where we see Diamond. So Diamond went to go find Vic, right? So Vic is asking like, what the fuck is going on? And he was like, I don't have time to talk to you about this shit right now, right? So his guys roughed up Vic and they got him out of there, right? So then we see they move to another spot. Vic is still asking questions about what the fuck is going on, right? So Tommy comes in, and this is when Tommy tells Victor and Diamond that they know who the rat is, that the rat is Shanti the showstopper, right? And so Vic is feeling like, okay, shit, they don't think it's me. We in the clear, right? I was like, Vic, are you that stupid to believe this shit, right? Like, you can't be that stupid, Victor. But neither here nor there, right? So then they are talking about the fact that, because they found out that, because at this particular moment, Diamond found out from one of his inside people with the feds that Markovich has been taken out. So Tommy wants for, he actually gave Victor his cut of money. Then he told him, I need you to go and collect some more money for me, right? And so while he's doing that, they're going to be going to talk to the Albanians to try to get the business from the Albanians, right? And so when Victor left, Diamond was like, what's going on with you and that rat ass motherfucker right there? And so Tommy is like, he wants to keep him as close as he can for right now, just to keep tabs on Victor. And I was like, okay, that's kind of smart, not really smart at the same time, because do I trust Victor? Not really, right? Not really. So then we see as Diamond and Tommy pulled up on the Albanians, right? So as they got to the Albanians, they found out from the Albanians that, oh boy, Miguel had already been there and they had made a deal with the Albanians, right? So I think they got them for 30. And so Tom was like, I'll give you 28. I'll give it to you at 28. And he tacked on some other stuff. Basically, the Albanians told Tommy to go fuck himself, right? So then we see as one of Miguel's people is talking to Miguel, and he was like, Tommy went to the Albanians, and he's not going away. So Miguel said, Tommy's gonna get what's coming to him. So his partner is like, you gonna try to take Tommy out? Like, Che is not gonna be happy about that. And he was like, fuck no, I'm not gonna do it. He's like, I'm gonna take Tommy out, but I'm not gonna do it. And Miguel nor Maria will be none the wiser, right? Now, after this, Tommy told Diamond that they need to go to the Italians. So we then see when D-Mac pulled up on Diamond, wanting to get some work from Diamond. I was like, little nigga, you still hot. And I forgot about it until Diamond said it. You shot a cop. Well, you unalive, you took out a cop and you took out that boy. Little nigga, sit the fuck down. And that's what Diamond told him, like, sit your ass the fuck down. And I was with him, right? So after Diamond found out about Tommy being with Maria, he went back to Tommy. He was like, what the fuck is this that I found out that you with Maria? And Tommy was like, that ain't gonna interfere with our business. He was like, is that, and Diamond was like, is that why you didn't press the Albanians, when we were talking to them? And Tommy was like, the Albanians basically told me, fuck you. So it wasn't much that I could press. I was like, Diamond, you were there. You saw it. What else could Tommy have done, right? So Tommy's and Diamond, they good, right? So then we see Tommy, after that, he went to go over to the gym to see Shanti, to tell Shanti, yeah, that bitch Claudia, she's still alive, right? And so he was like, we're going to keep going until we get the bitch, right? So then they heard a noise, and she was like, were you expecting company? She said, I don't like company. So they grabbed their guns, and they got ambushed by the Marquez family, and they both took out. Now Shanti was almost a goner, because there was a man that came up behind her. I was like, oh, please pop that bitch. But Tommy saved her. And so then after that, we see Tommy. He went over to Mariah's crib. He told Mariah he ain't gonna take out her brother. And then after he got a phone call, she told him, "I know what I'm getting involved in. Go take care of it." Right. So Tommy left, and then we see as he and Diamond pulled up on Victor to let Victor know, "Hey, we know that you the rat." And so he's like, "So you gonna take me out?" So Tommy put the gun to his forehead, but he didn't do anything, right? He told him, "I want you to be my inside man when it comes to the feds." And I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting. We gonna see how that plays out." But that was the episode, you guys. If I left anything out, definitely get down in the comments section and let me know whatever, if I left anything out, leave it in the comment section. Be sure to like the video, you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notifications. Share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.